I want you to think back to the last time you took a test. Like maybe it was an English language test.
Oh, yeah. That is always a bit stressful.
Right. But usually when we take a test, there is a very clear environment for it. You sit at a small, quiet desk.
Yeah, exactly. You have your paper, your pencil.
Right. The room is completely silent. The teacher tells everyone, to be quiet. You have time to breathe. You have time to look at the paper.
You really do. It is a controlled space. You feel ready because, well, nothing is distracting you.
Exactly. It is quiet. But then real life happens. You step into an international airport in an English-speaking country.
And that quiet room is just gone.
It is completely gone. Navigating an airport in a second language it is like taking a high-stakes pop quiz. But you are not sitting at a quiet desk.
No, definitely not.
You are taking this quiz in a massive, crowded, and incredibly noisy room.
It really is a sensory overload. I mean, there are just so many things happening all at once.
People are running past you with big carts. You are carrying heavy bags that hurt your shoulders.
Yeah, the physical stress is real.
Bright lights are shining. Loud announcements are like blaring from the speakers above you. And they're usually very hard to understand.
Even for native speakers, they are so hard to hear.
Right. And to make it worse, there is a clock ticking in your head.
Yes, the time pressure. You are probably worried about missing your flight. You are worried about finding the right gate.
You are tired from traveling. So, well, it is no wonder that so many of us completely freeze in that moment.
It is so common.
You walk up to an airport worker, you open your mouth, and nothing comes out. You start sweating. Your mind goes completely blank.
It is the perfect recipe for pure panic.
It really is. You forget every single English word you have ever learned. You feel like you cannot even remember how to say hello.
And, there is actually a very real physical reason why this happens to our brains.
Yes. I was just going to ask about that. Why does our brain do this to us? I mean, why do we forget words that we definitely know?
Well, when you are in a loud, stressful place like an airport, your brain senses danger.
Like actual danger.
Yeah. Your body releases a chemical called adrenaline. It is like an alarm bell ringing inside your head.
Oh, wow.
Your brain literally thinks you need to run away from a dangerous animal. It goes into survival mode.
So my brain is acting like a tiger is chasing me, but really, I'm just trying to ask where the bathroom is.
Exactly. That is exactly it. And when your brain is in that survival mode, it shuts down the parts that handle complex thinking and memory.
So it just blocks my vocabulary.
It temporarily blocks your access to all those English lists you studied.
Yeah.
Your brain is basically saying, we do not have time for grammar right now. We need to survive.
That actually makes me feel so much better. Like, it is not because I'm a bad student. It is just biology.
It is completely normal biology. And that brings us to the core mission of today's deep dive. Welcome to the show, everyone.
Yes, welcome.
Today, we are looking at something incredibly practical for all of our listeners who are learning English. We are unpacking a highly useful guide to airport survival English.
We are going to look very closely at the specific vocabulary you need when traveling. We are going to practice it slowly and clearly.
Because that practice is so important.
It really is. But we are also going to look at the psychology of speaking a second language when you are feeling, that stress we just talked about.
And right away, we need to establish the most important idea of this entire discussion.
Okay, what is the big idea?
If there is only one thing you remember from our conversation today, please remember this: perfect English is not the goal.
That is such a huge relief. Let me say that again for our listeners. Perfect English is not the goal.
Communication is the goal.
Communication is the goal. I love that.
When you are in the airport, you have to remember who you are talking to. The airport workers standing behind the desks, well, they're not English teachers.
Right, they do not have a red pen.
Exactly. They are not grading your grammar.
They are just normal, very busy people doing their jobs.
Yes.
Yeah.
They just want to help you get on the airplane safely and on time. They only need to know what you want and where you are going.
So if I make a mistake, it is okay.
If you use the wrong verb tense or if you forget a word, they really do not care. As long as they understand your goal, you have succeeded.
If we can remember that, we can turn off that alarm bell in our brains. We can take a deep breath and relax a little bit.
Yes, take a deep breath.
So let us look at our roadmap for today. We are going to travel together through the 4 main stages of the airport journey.
We will walk through this step by step with you. First, we will look at walking through the front doors and checking in at the airline desk.
Okay, stage 1.
Second, we will face the most stressful part, the security line. Third, we will navigate the large terminal and talk about the airplane cabin.
And finally, we will arrive at our destination and try to survive the final challenge, which is customs and immigration.
At each step of this journey, we are going to look at common mistakes that English learners make. We will explain exactly why they are mistakes.
And then we will practice the natural, confident corrections.
And we are going to take our time. We will speak clearly, and we will explain the why and the how behind these phrases.
So grab your bags and let's unpack this.
Let's start the journey. Stage 1, the check-in desk and the power of politeness.
Okay, let us picture the scene. You just got out of your taxi. You walk through the big glass doors of the airport.
The cold air conditioning hits your face.
You look at the signs and you find the desk for your airline. You wait in the long line. Finally, it is your turn.
You step up to the counter.
You walk up to the agent behind the desk. The agent smiles, looks at you, and asks the first standard question. Where are you flying today?
It is a very simple question. Where are you flying today? But when we are nervous, we often give a very basic, direct answer.
Right.
And here we see our very first common mistake. A learner might look at the agent and say, I go to New York.
I go to New York. Now, let's be fair. If I say I go to New York, the agent will absolutely understand me, right?
Oh, yes, they will understand.
They know what city I mean. They will print my ticket.
They will. You'll still get to New York. The communication works on a basic level, but it does not sound natural to a native English speaker's ear.
It sounds a little bit broken.
Yeah, it sounds a bit broken.
So how do we fix it? What is the natural correction for this?
The natural correction is this. I'm flying to New York.
I'm flying to New York. Let's look closer at that. Let's break down the grammar in a simple way. Why does I'm flying feel so much better than I go?
It is all about how the English language uses time and action. I go is what we call the simple present tense.
Okay, simple present.
In English, we usually use the simple present tense for habits. We use it for things that you do every single day over and over again.
For example, I might say, I go to work at 8 o'clock. Or, I go to the supermarket on Tuesdays.
Exactly. Those are routines. But you do not go to New York every single day. Traveling is a special event.
Right. I am doing it today. It is happening right now.
Because it is an active plan happening right now, we must use the present continuous tense. I am flying.
We add the ing to the verb, flying.
Yes. It feels active. It feels alive.
So, to a native speaker's ear, I'm flying to New York fits the active energy of the airport perfectly. It shows that the journey is already happening.
That is exactly right. Let's practice that slowly. I'm flying to New York.
I'm flying to New York. I like how that sounds. It sounds really confident.
It does.
Okay, so the agent types on their computer. They see your reservation. Next, they need to ask you about where you want to sit on the airplane.
Right, the seating question.
They will ask, would you prefer a window or an aisle seat?
And here we find another very, very common mistake. This is a mistake about culture and tone, not just grammar.
Oh, culture is tricky.
It is. The nervous traveler, wanting to be fast, might simply point and say, I want window.
I want window. Okay, I need to push back on this a little bit.
Got it.
When I read that this was a mistake, I was surprised. Why is I want considered a mistake? I mean, it is grammatically correct.
It is correct, yes.
And it is factually true. I want the window. It feels very efficient to just say, I want window.
It is efficient. It is very fast. But here is where things get really interesting with English culture.
Okay.
In English-speaking countries, especially in service situations like restaurants, stores, or airports, efficiency without politeness sounds rude.
Wait, efficiency without politeness sounds rude. That is a fascinating rule to remember.
Yes, in some languages, being direct is a good thing. It saves time. But in English, if you just say, I want, it sounds like a strict command.
Like a boss giving an order.
Exactly. It sounds like a boss giving an order to a worker. Or, honestly, it sounds like a young child demanding a toy. I want toy.
I want toy. Yes, I can hear how that sounds a bit aggressive. It sounds hard and flat.
Right. English relies heavily on what we call softening phrases.
Softening phrases. I really like that concept. It is almost like, imagine you are driving a car on a very bumpy road.
Okay, a bumpy road.
If your car does not have shock absorbers, every bump hurts. The ride is rough. But softening phrases are like the shock absorbers on a car.
Oh, I love that.
They make the interaction smooth. They make sure your words do not hit the other person too hard.
That is a wonderful analogy. The shock absorbers of language. You want your words to land smoothly and gently.
So instead of the hard, bumpy, I want window, what do we use?
We use a softening phrase. The natural correction is to ask a question. We say, could I get a window seat, please?
Could I get a window seat, please?
Let me say that again slowly. Could I get a window seat, please?
It definitely takes a few seconds longer to say.
Yeah, it is not as fast as I want, but it feels so much warmer.
It does. It completely changes the feeling of the interaction. When you say, could I get, you are acknowledging that the other person is helping you.
It creates a friendly, respectful relationship between you and the airport worker. And honestly, if you are friendly and respectful to the airport worker, they're going to try much harder to give you a good seat.
That is absolutely true. Being polite usually gets you better service.
It really does.
Now let's talk about the other seat option. The agent said window or aisle. Let's dive into that specific word for a moment. Aisle.
Oh, yes. It is a very strange word to read on a piece of paper. The spelling is very confusing for learners.
It really is a nightmare to spell. If you look at it on a sign, it is spelled A-I-S-L-E, aisle.
But when you say it, the letter S is completely silent.
You do not pronounce the S at all.
Not at all. It sounds exactly like the phrase I will when we shorten it to aisle, or it sounds like the word island. You ignore the S, you just say aisle, aisle.
Okay, aisle. And the aisle is the long walking path down the middle of the airplane, the empty space between the rows of seats.
Choosing your seat is an important decision for a traveler.
Yes, there is a simple rule to help you choose. If you are someone who likes to get up, stretch your legs, go to the bathroom, and walk around during a long flight, you definitely want an aisle seat.
Because you do not have to climb over the other passengers.
Exactly. But if you like to rest your head against the wall, sleep, and look outside at the clouds during takeoff, you want a window seat.
So using our new softening phrase, you could smile at the agent and say, could I get an aisle seat, please?
Perfect. So you have chosen your seat. The agent prints the ticket. Now they point to the suitcases by your feet.
It is time to talk about luggage.
Yes! They ask, are you checking any bags today?
The nervous traveler might just point their finger at their big red suitcase and say a short phrase, yes, this bag.
Again, very fast, very efficient, the agent will take the bag. But we are aiming to sound natural, relaxed, and confident in our English.
Right. We want to practice transforming that short, choppy phrase into a complete, smooth sentence.
What is the natural correction?
The natural correction is to say, yes, I have one bag to check.
Yes, I have one bag to check.
And what if you have two suitcases? You just change the number. Yes, I have two bags to check.
Yes, I have two bags to check. It is clear. It is polite. It gives all the information the agent needs.
Exactly.
And what if you are only carrying a small backpack? What if you are not giving them any bags?
Then you would say, no, I only have carry-on luggage.
Carry on, meaning you will physically carry it onto the airplane yourself.
Yes.
Let's do a quick role play of this whole first step. I will be the serious airport agent. You be the traveler. Ready?
I'm ready.
Hello, where are you flying today?
I'm flying to London.
Great. Would you prefer a window or an aisle seat?
Could I get an aisle seat, please?
Certainly. Are you checking any bags today?
Yes, I have one bag to check.
Perfect. Here is your boarding pass.
Thank you.
Wow, that felt so smooth. It felt like a perfectly normal conversation. There was no stress at all.
And just like that, you are finished with stage one. You survived the check-in desk.
The agent smiles, hands you your paper boarding pass, and says, your gate is B12. Have a nice flight.
You take your boarding pass, you say thank you, you grab your small backpack, you are feeling good.
But the relief does not last very long, does it?
No, it does not.
You turn around and you look across the airport hall. Now you must face the most intimidating, frightening part of the entire airport, the security line.
This brings us to stage two. This is the place where people feel the absolute most panic.
Well, let's set the scene again because the environment here is really intense.
It is very intense.
You walk up to the security area. There are long, winding lines of people. It looks like a maze. Everyone looks stressed.
People are hopping on one foot, trying to take off their shoes.
Yes. Plastic boxes are crashing together on the metal tables. The security officers in dark uniforms are shouting loud instructions.
It is loud. It is fast. It feels completely chaotic.
It definitely feels like chaos to you, the nervous traveler. But there is a secret here.
A very helpful secret. We have a comforting core insight that can change how you feel about security.
Yes, this is my favorite idea from all of our research today. The comforting fact is this: security officers are not inventing new questions.
That is right. They use the exact same words, the exact same phrases all day long.
Think about it. They stand in that same spot for 8 hours. They say the same sentences thousands and thousands of times a day.
They are not trying to have a creative conversation with you. They are not trying to trick you with new vocabulary.
This means navigating airport security is not about improvising. You do not need to be creative.
You do not need to invent perfect English sentences on the spot.
Exactly. Navigating security is like learning the lines to a stage play or a movie.
That is a great way to think about it. It is a script. If you learn the script before you get to the airport, you do not have to think.
You just listen for your cue and you react. You become an actor in the play.
Yes. So let's slow down and break down the vocabulary of this script.
You walk up to the metal tables. The officer points to you and says loudly, "Please take out your electronics and empty your pockets."
Let's focus on the second half of that phrase, empty your pockets. This is a critical instruction.
The word empty is the key here.
Yes, empty is a verb here. It means to remove everything until there is nothing left inside.
So like, I cannot leave anything.
You cannot leave one single coin in your pocket. You cannot leave a piece of paper or a tissue. Every single item must come out.
Your keys, your coins, your phone, your wallet.
All of it. And where do you put all these things? You cannot just hold them in your hands.
No, you must put them in the gray plastic box on the table. In English, we usually call this plastic box a bin or a tray.
So you grab a bin and you empty your pockets into the bin. Then the officer will usually give you the next line in the script.
What is the next line?
They will look at your clothes and say, "Please take off your jacket and your shoes."
Take off. Let's explain that phrase. We use this specific phrasal verb, take off, for clothing and accessories.
Yes, you take off your hat, you take off your heavy winter coat, you take off your shoes, you take off your belt.
It means you physically remove them from your body.
Exactly. You put all those items into another plastic tray.
Now, here is a fantastic tip for our listeners. When the officer tells you to empty your pockets or take off your shoes, how should you reply? Do you need to use perfect grammar?
No.
Yeah.
In fact, you do not even need to speak full sentences back to them.
Wait, I do not need to say, "Yes, sir, I understand you, and I will take off my jacket right now."
No, that is way too much speaking. It will actually slow the line down. The officer is busy. You just need to show them that you understand and agree. Just smile, nod your head up and down, and use a short, friendly, positive phrase.
What are some good short phrases?
You can just say, "Sure," or you could say, "No problem."
Sure, no problem. That is so easy. It is just 2 words. Let's practice that. I will be the officer. Sir, please take off your shoes.
Sure, no problem.
That is great. It keeps the energy calm. But let's talk about the panic moment. Because we all know things do not always go perfectly.
They certainly do not.
What happens when the script goes wrong?
It happens to everyone. Maybe the officer is very tired. Maybe the airport is very, very busy.
The officer is speaking incredibly quickly.
Right. They say a long, fast sentence. And because of the noise, you do not understand a single word they said.
Your brain completely freezes. The alarm bell rings again.
Now, the common mistake here is reacting with shock in a loud voice. The English learner, feeling panic, might loudly say, "What?"
What? Let's pause and analyze why this specific word is a mistake.
If you think about it from the traveler's point of view, they are just terrified. They're scared of doing the wrong thing.
Yes, in their heart they are saying, "I am confused, please help me."
But to the tired security officer, hearing someone shout, "What?" sounds very aggressive.
It sounds challenging, it sounds impolite, it sounds like you're angry at them, even if you are really just nervous.
It raises the tension in an already tense room.
Exactly. We want to lower the tension. We want to be soft. We need our shock absorbers again.
Yes, we want to ask them to repeat the instruction, but we want to do it gently.
So the natural correction is a beautiful, calming sentence. You smile, you look directly at the officer, and you say, "I'm sorry, could you speak a little slower, please?"
"I'm sorry, could you speak a little slower, please?"
Let's practice that slowly for the listener because this is a magic phrase that you can use anywhere, not just the airport.
Let's do it together. "I am sorry, could you speak a little slower, please?"
I'm sorry, could you speak a little slower, please? Why is this sentence so powerful?
It is powerful because of its structure. When you start with, "I'm sorry," you are immediately showing respect.
Right, you're showing that you're not angry.
Then, when you say, "Slower, please," you are telling them exactly what the problem is and how they can help you.
You are taking control of the confusing situation in a very polite way.
And almost every time, the officer will understand. They will realize you are an English learner.
They will point to their shoes and speak clearly. They want to help you so the line can keep moving.
So, you put your laptop in the bin, you take off your shoes, you walk through the metal detector. It does not beep.
You grab your bags from the moving belt, you sit on a bench and put your shoes back on, you tie your
You
shoelaces.
take a deep breath.
Yeah.
You survived stage 2.
But the journey is not over. You walk away from security, and suddenly you are standing in a massive building. It is a giant terminal.
This brings us to stage 3. Navigating the terminal and de-escalating the airplane cabin.
Imagine the space. Ceilings are 50 feet high. There are bright digital signs everywhere, pointing left, right, and straight ahead, listing 100 different cities.
There are stores and restaurants. And you, the tired traveler, are completely lost.
You pull out your boarding pass. It says you need to be at gate B12, but you have no idea where the B gates are.
You look around and see an airport worker in a uniform walking past you. You need to ask for directions.
The nervous learner, worried about missing the flight, might step directly in front of the worker to stop them and just ask, "Where is B12?"
Where is B12? It gets straight to the point. It is very clear.
It is clear, but again, it completely lacks that soft shock absorber we talked about. It sounds like a police interview.
It really does.
I remember the very first time I traveled internationally by myself, I was so nervous. I walked right up to a worker and just said, "Where is my gate?"
How do they react?
They looked so offended. They looked at me like I was very rude. It took me a long time to realize that without a softening phrase, it feels like you were barking an order at a dog.
Exactly. It feels like a command. So we need to fix it. The correction here is simple, but it is one of the most powerful phrases in the English language.
What is it?
Excuse me. How do I get to gate B12?
Excuse me, how do I get to gate B12? Let's analyze the magical power of those two little words. Excuse me.
Why are they so important in English?
Yeah, why?
Excuse me acts as a gentle buffer. Imagine you want to get someone's attention. You could walk up and hit them hard on the shoulder.
Ouch.
That would work, but it would hurt.
Yeah.
Or you could gently tap them on the shoulder. Excuse me, is a gentle tap on the shoulder, but using words.
It gets their attention politely before you ask your question.
Yes. It sends a subconscious message. It says, "Hello, I know I am interrupting your busy day. I respect your time, but I need a little bit of help."
It is a profound sign of respect. Excuse me. Then you follow it with the question, how do I get to gate B12? You use the phrase, how do I get to, which asks for directions.
The worker smiles because you were polite. They point down the hall and say, "Go straight past the coffee shop, then turn left."
You thank them. You walk past the coffee shop. You walk for 10 minutes down a long, moving walkway. Finally, you arrive at a desk. The sign says B12.
You made it to the gate. But there is a new problem.
There is always a new problem.
You look at the digital screen above the desk. Sometimes the screen is broken. It is completely blank.
Or maybe it is showing the wrong city. You were supposed to fly to New York, but the screen says Miami.
You are not sure if this is the right airplane.
Panic starts to return. You look at the passenger standing next to you. You point your finger at the big airplane outside the window. A nervous learner might ask, is this plane New York?
Is this plane New York? Let's think about how that sounds. It sounds like you are asking if the airplane itself is a city.
Right. The airplane is a machine with wings. It is not a city with buildings.
The word plane refers to the physical vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
But you are asking about the journey, so the natural correction is, excuse me, is this the flight to New York?
Excuse me, is this the flight to New York? Notice how we use that excuse me, again, to gently interrupt the passenger. And we use the word flight.
Flight refers to the scheduled journey from one city to another.
The passenger looks at their ticket, smiles at you, and says, yes, it is. The screen is just broken.
You feel a massive wave of relief.
You sit down. A few minutes later, the agent announces your group. You hand them your ticket. You walk down the long, narrow tunnel, and you step through the door onto the airplane.
Now we are in a very different physical environment. The airplane cabin.
The airplane cabin is a unique place. It is a very small, very tight, crowded tube in the sky. Hundreds of people are squeezed together.
Everyone is trying to lift heavy bags and put them into the overhead bins. Everyone is tired. Everyone is a little bit grumpy and easily annoyed.
Because of these tight conditions, this is a place where we really want to avoid arguments. We want to be extra polite.
Let's talk about a very common conflict on an airplane. You are walking down the very narrow aisle.
You are holding your backpack. You are looking at the numbers above the seats. 10, 11, 12.
You're looking for your seat, 12A. You find row 12. You look at the window seat. But there is a problem. Someone is already sitting in your seat.
This happens all the time. People get confused. Now you are tired. Your shoulder hurts from your bag. People are standing behind you waiting to pass.
The common mistake is to react strongly and quickly. A learner might point at the person and say, "Hey, move, my seat."
Hey, move. My seat. Let me tell you, when I first heard that, I had a very strong reaction. It sounds like a strict military commander shouting at a soldier.
Okay, move. It is incredibly aggressive.
It is. And the person sitting there might get defensive. They might get angry. You definitely do not want to start a yelling match on an airplane.
Absolutely not. You need to de-escalate the situation. That means you need to bring the tension down. You need to solve the problem peacefully.
So how do we correct this?
We use a wonderful, very advanced phrase. You smile, look the person in the seat, and say, "Excuse me, I believe you are in my seat. I have 12A."
Excuse me, I believe you are in my seat. I have 12A. Let's look really closely at the words I believe. This is brilliant psychology.
Why do you think "I believe" is so brilliant? Think about it. You know it is your seat. You have the printed ticket right in your hand. It is a fact. So why say "I believe"?
Because it softens the reality. It makes it sound like a simple, honest mistake, not a crime. If you say, you are in my seat, it sounds like an accusation.
It sounds like you are saying you stole my seat on purpose.
Exactly. By saying, I believe you are in my seat, you are giving the other person a psychological gift. You are giving them a chance to save face.
Saving face is so important. You give them a chance to look surprised, check their own ticket, and say, "Oh my goodness, I am so sorry I read my ticket wrong. I am supposed to be in 13A.
They can move without feeling deeply embarrassed or angry.
It is a very high-level social skill.
Yeah.
It is built right into simple English vocabulary.
So the person apologizes. They stand up and move to their correct row. You finally sit down in 12A. You put your seatbelt on. You look out the window.
The engines roar and the plane takes off into the sky. You are finally relaxing. The seatbelt sign turns off. A few hours pass. You are reading a book. Then you smell food. It is time to eat.
The service trap.
Yes, the service trap. The flight attendant rolls a large, heavy metal cart down the aisle. They stop at row 12. They look at you and ask a very classic airplane question. Would you like chicken and rice or beef and pasta?
You are very hungry. You definitely want the chicken. The mistake here is incredibly common for language learners. The traveler looks at the flight attendant and says, give me chicken.
Give me chicken. Now, we need to pause here because this is a fascinating cultural difference. In many languages around the world, directly translating the words "give me" is perfectly fine.
It is the normal, polite way to order food in a restaurant.
Yes, in some cultures, the grammar of ordering is direct. But in English, "give me" is almost always seen as rude in a service situation.
Why is that? Why does give me sound so bad to an English speaker?
It goes back to what we talked about at the check-in desk. It sounds like a demand. Give you the ball. Give me the toy. It is how children speak before they learn manners.
It lacks respect for the worker. In English culture, we do not command service workers. We make polite requests.
We make requests, not commands. That is a great rule to remember. So what is the proper way to request the chicken?
You have two great natural options. The most common way to order food is to use the phrase, I'll have. You say, I'll have the chicken, please.
I'll have the chicken, please. So let's practice that. I'll have the chicken, please.
Or you can use the magic shock absorber phrase we learned earlier at the check-in desk. Remember, could I get?
Oh, yes. So if the flight attendant asks what I want to drink, I do not say, give me water. I say, could I get some water, please?
Exactly. Could I get an apple juice, please?
Could I get an apple juice, please? It is so soft. It is so polite. The flight attendant smiles, hands you your hot meal and your cold drink, and moves the cart to the next row.
You eat your chicken, you watch a movie on the little screen, you sleep for a little while, and then you feel the airplane descending. The tires hit the runway with a bump. You have landed in a new country.
You grab your bags from the overhead bin. You walk off the plane. You are tired. Your clothes are wrinkled, but you are happy to be on the ground.
However, before you can officially leave the airport, before you can step outside and breathe the fresh air of the city, you must face the final challenge.
This is the boss level of the airport journey. Stage 4, conquering customs and immigration.
Let me set the physical scene here, because the intimidation factor in this room is huge. You walk down a long hallway, and you enter a giant, quiet room.
There is no music playing. There are long lines of silent travelers. At the front of the lines, there are serious officers sitting inside tall glass booths.
They're wearing official government uniforms, they have shiny badges, they are looking at computer screens with very serious faces.
You can hear the loud, heavy sound of passports being stamped. Thump, thump. Your heart starts beating fast all over again. The adrenaline comes back.
You feel like you are doing something illegal, even though you have done absolutely nothing wrong.
It is a very intense psychological space. They design it to look serious.
Wow.
But just like at the security checkpoint, you need to remember the secret to surviving this room. Take a deep breath.
What is the secret to customs?
It is exactly the same as security. The officers ask the same exact questions to thousands of people every single day. Their questions are 100% predictable.
If you know the questions before you walk into the room, you can prepare your answers perfectly.
You don't have to invent answers. You just prepare them. Let's prepare those answers right now for our listeners.
You walk up to the glass booth. You slide your passport across the counter. The officer opens it, looks at your face to check your photo, and asks question number 1, what is the purpose of your visit?
The word purpose means why. Why are you flying to this country? A nervous learner trying to explain their actions might make a structural mistake. They might say, I come to travel.
I come to travel. Again, it is completely understandable. The officer knows what you mean. You are a tourist, but it is not natural English.
Right. We want to sound smooth and confident, especially in front of a government officer. The natural correction is to talk about the category of your trip using the word on. You should say, I'm here on vacation.
I'm here on vacation. That is the standard American English phrase. But what if you learned British English? What is the phrase there?
In British English, or in countries like Australia, you would say, I'm here on holiday.
I'm here on holiday. And what if you are not a tourist? What if you are traveling for your job? What if your boss sent you to a conference?
Then you say, I'm here on business.
Let's repeat those 3 options. I'm here on vacation, I'm here on holiday, I'm here on business. They're short, clear, and perfectly natural.
So you give your answer. The officer types something on the computer keyboard. Then they ask predictable question number 2. Where will you be staying?
This question causes a surprising amount of confusion for English learners. The traveler wants to explain that they have a reservation and they are going to sleep at a hotel.
Okay.
So they translate directly from their native language and make this mistake. I live in hotel.
I live in hotel. Wait, let me pause and push back on this because this is confusing. If I look in a dictionary, live and stay seem very similar. They both mean you are sleeping somewhere, existing somewhere.
Why is live the wrong word to use in this situation?
It is a really great question. It comes down to the English difference between permanent and temporary. The verb live implies your permanent home.
It is your house. It is the place where all your furniture and your winter coats are.
Ah, I see. A tree lives in the ground. You live in your home country. It is rooted. It is permanent.
Exactly. If you look at a customs officer and say, I live in a hotel, it sounds like you permanently moved into a room 402, you put your name on the door, and you are never leaving. The officer will think you are trying to immigrate illegally.
Wow. That is a big misunderstanding from one small word. So we cannot use live.
No. For a temporary trip, whether it is 3 days, 2 weeks, or even a month, you must use the verb stay. Stay means temporary.
So the correction is, I'm staying at a hotel.
Yes. Or if you are visiting your family, you say, I'm staying with friends, or I'm staying with my sister.
I'm staying at a hotel. Now, usually the officer will want more details. They will want to know exactly which hotel. They might ask, what is the address of the hotel?
And here, our research gives us an absolute brilliant practical tip. I call it the ultimate customs hack.
It really is a genius hack. Trying to verbally spell a complicated English street name when you are stressed is incredibly difficult.
It is a nightmare. Imagine trying to spell Massachusetts Avenue or Worcestershire Boulevard to a serious officer while 50 angry people are waiting in line behind you. You will panic.
So the tip is simple. Do not do it. Do not try to spell it verbally. Make it easy for yourself. The ultimate customs hack is this. Before you even get on the airplane, write your hotel address clearly on a piece of paper and put it in your passport.
Or take a screenshot of the hotel address on your phone so it is ready and visible.
When the officer asks where you are staying, you do not need to spell anything. You just hand them the piece of paper or show them your phone screen, smile, and say, here's the address.
Here's the address. You pass the problem to them. They can read it silently and type it into their computer easily. It saves time. It saves you from stressing out. It is a perfect, polite solution.
I love that so much. You are using an object to communicate, not just your voice. Okay, so the officer looks at your paper. They type the long address into the computer. Now, they ask question number 3.
This is the final question, and it is about duration. How long are you staying?
The traveler knows their return flight is in 14 days. The mistake they make is translating directly and saying, I stay 2 weeks.
I spend 2 weeks. It is understandable, but it feels like it is missing a piece of the puzzle, isn't it?
Yes, it is missing a crucial little word, the word for. The correct natural phrasing is, I'm staying for 2 weeks.
I'm staying for 2 weeks.
In English, the word for shows the length of time, the duration of an event. I'm staying for 5 days, I'm staying for 1 month, I'm staying for a weekend.
Let's roleplay this final boss level to show how smooth it can be. I will be the scary customs officer. You be the prepared traveler. Ready?
Ready?
Next in line, passport, please. What is the purpose of your visit?
I'm here on vacation.
And where will you be staying?
I'm staying at a hotel. Here is the address on this paper.
Thank you. And how long are you staying?
I'm staying for 2 weeks.
The officer looks at you. They pick up their big, heavy ink stamp. They bring it down hard on your passport page. Thump.
And then they hand the passport back and say the words every traveler waits to hear, welcome to United States.
Victory. You take your passport, you put it in your pocket, you walk through the big double doors, and suddenly you are in the baggage claim area. You made it.
You survived the check-in desk. You survived the panic of security. You survived the crowded airplane cabin. And you successfully conquered customs.
You navigated a complex, high-stress environment, and you did it all using simple, polite, confident English.
So as we wrap up our journey today, let's talk about what our listeners should do next. Our research today highlights a really powerful concept to help you prepare for your next actual trip.
The concept is called muscle memory.
Muscle memory for your mouth. It is a very real, very important biological thing.
What exactly does that mean? Muscle memory for your mouth.
Think about playing a sport. Think about professional basketball players shooting a basketball. When they're in a championship game and the clock is running out, they do not stop and think about every single finger on their hand.
They do not think about the angle of their elbow. Their muscles just automatically remember how to do it.
Yeah, because they practiced that exact physical movement 1,000 times in an empty gym.
Their body knows the movement so well that their brain doesn't have to work hard.
Exactly. Now, apply that to language. Speaking a language is not just a mental exercise, it is a physical action. It uses the physical muscles in your lips, your tongue, your jaw, and your throat.
If you just sit in a quiet room and read these English phrases silently in a book, your brain might know the vocabulary, but your mouth muscles do not know the physical shapes.
So when you are standing in that noisy, stressful airport and the adrenaline is pumping, your brain panics and your mouth physically struggles to form the shapes of the English words.
Yes, the connection is broken. That is why you must practice speaking out loud. You must physically train your mouth muscles.
When you speak the words out loud over and over again in your living room, the English will come out automatically and easily when you are nervous at the airport.
We really want to encourage you, the listener, to rewind this deep dive. Go back to the beginning and listen again. But next time, do not just listen silently. Say the words out loud with us.
Say the present continuous. I'm flying to New York.
I'm flying to New York.
Practice the shock absorber phrase. Could I get a window seat, please?
Could I get a window seat, please?
Say them until the words flow easily off your tongue. Say them until your mouth feels comfortable making those sounds.
And remember the final, comforting reassurance that we started with today. Communication is always more important than perfection.
Let's say that one more time because it is the golden rule of language learning. Communication is more important than perfection. If you make a mistake, it is completely 100% okay.
Everyone makes mistakes. Native English speakers make grammar mistakes every single day. If you forget a word at the check-in desk, just smile. Take a deep breath to calm your adrenaline. If you do not understand the security officer, do not shout, "What?" Just ask them to repeat it.
Use your magic phrase. I'm sorry, could you speak a little slower, please?
Exactly. People want to help you. The airport workers just want to get you to your destination safely.
Now, before we completely finish today, we want to leave you with a fun, practical challenge.
Yes, a small homework assignment to test your new skills and build that muscle memory today.
The challenge is this. Sometime today, when you have a free moment, pretend you are walking up to the airport check-in desk. Imagine the agent looks at you, smiles, and asks, "Where are you flying today?"
We want you to speak out loud and practice the phrase, "I'm flying to," and then fill in the blank with your absolute dream destination.
Where in the world do you really want to go? You could practice saying, "I'm flying to Paris," or "I'm flying to Tokyo," or "I'm flying to Brazil."
Practice saying that complete sentence out loud today. Make it a reality in your mind and in your mouth.
It is a wonderful, positive way to build your confidence.
It really is. Okay, as we bring this deep dive to a close, I want to leave you with one final, slightly provocative thought to think about on your own. We spent a lot of time today talking about common mistakes.
We talked about how saying give me or I want sounds rude to an English speaker.
Yes, we talked a lot about the English rules of politeness and adding softening phrases.
But here is the really interesting part to ponder. When an English learner makes these mistakes, when a tired traveler points at the cart and says, give me chicken, it is almost never because they are actually trying to be a rude person.
They're not bad people trying to cause trouble.
Not at all. They are usually just translating directly from the grammar rules of their native language. They're doing exactly what their brain tells them is correct.
Exactly, and that makes you wonder how much of what we consider polite or rude in the world is just an accident of how our native languages are constructed.
That is a very deep, fascinating question to consider.
Right. Think about it. If your native language uses direct commands for ordering food, does that mean your entire culture is rude? No, of course not. It just means your grammar values directness and efficiency.
English grammar, especially in customer service, values softness and indirectness.
It really makes you reflect on your own background. What does the grammar of your first language reveal about how your specific culture views directness, efficiency, and respect?
How do you show respect in your native language? Do you use special vocabulary words? Do you use a different, softer tone of voice? Do you bow your head?
It is something wonderful to explore on your own, because when you learn English or any new language, you are not just memorizing lists of new words, you are learning a completely new way to interact with human beings. You are learning a new cultural rhythm.
And every single time you step into an international airport, you are bravely stepping onto a stage to perform that new rhythm.
You really are. It is an incredibly brave thing to travel the world in a second language. It takes courage. So to all our listeners out there preparing for a trip, take a deep breath.
You have the tools, you know the script. The high-stakes pop quiz in the noisy room is not so scary anymore.
You are prepared. You are ready for your journey. We wish you the very best of luck. Safe travels and keep practicing on your English learning journey.